Welcome, friends. It is I, your SunSpec, and it's time for the vlog. And this is Thursday night because I'm gonna be gone Friday to Sunday. So yay on that. I did not choose for this to happen to me, but it is what is happening. There's a fun quote from James Earl Jones as Darth Vader for some movie he did, and he says, "I think it's I did not choose to have a nervous breakdown, but it came to me at the worst time." And yeah, you know what? I should probably just find the actual quote to that instead of just saying it incorrectly, because it's a fun quote in that it's not so good for him in whatever movie it is. I just because it's his voice, it sounds so great. But derailed already. Okay, so patch. First up, background is a new arena. I was experimenting in this match. I'm like, oh, I should try to see if Talaria or Travelers, whatever they called, if the passive works on Nuwa's ult. I quickly find out it does not work on Nuwa's ult. Apparently Nuwa's ult does not activate it, but other things will activate it. And also Xbalanque's ult at the moment activates it until they patch that out, because that's really weird that Xbalanque's ultimate activates it, but not Nuwa's ult. Very odd. So, Apuchi, Apuch, Epoch, Apuche, Apucho, whatever the hell. King Donko of Punchtania. He is pretty fun to play. I think people are valid, though, in their feeling that he's probably mid-tier, though. He's really fun to play, and he can mess things up, but he doesn't really have the things that other mages bring to the team for like competitive play to really win things, because he's just got a weird counter play stun, which is pretty nice in picks. That might be a useful thing to do. If the other team has a lot of heals, he'll be really bad for them to deal with, because Herc will get 3 seconds stunned. Sylvanas gets everyone 3 seconds stunned. It'll be really nice with Apuchi to have on your team. But if they don't have a lot of heals, then he doesn't really bring that counterplay to it, because he just has a crap ton of slows, and his ultimate's good for zoning, but he just has a lot of slows on him, which is useful, but not the same usefulness as gods who can stun. Like mages with stun, or roots and stuff like that, have a lot better lockdown and just more dangerousness than he does. Also, he doesn't have the damage compared to them. He can do a lot of damage if he sets up with a bunch of zombies, and he can also do some continuous damage, but he does not have the burst that other gods do, so he's definitely a mid-tier god, but he's pretty fun. He's a very fun god to play, and we're going to see a lot of games out of him next week. We're also going to see Bastet next week, which that skin is hilarious. In the patch, I didn't like the voice pack, because I didn't hear all the other stuff. The specialized stuff, like You Rock and all those things, they're really good. Just the lane calls, it's just her being hell, which isn't very good, but all the other stuff sounds really good. I also play Alakwang, and the thing is, I expanded with the Traveler boots so much that because I'm trying to take advantage of that passive, I'm not playing Alakwang very well. So you're going to see an interesting game trying to take advantage of his boots, but doesn't go very well. Like, I'm seeing how well junglers do with those boots right now. And because I'm focused on trying to get hits here and there instead of just playing a regular jungle route, I'm noticing I'm making mistakes doing that. Now, if I can perfect doing both, that'd be great. But I'm not there yet. When you're trying something new, you're not going to get it right the first time. You got to do it a couple times to get it right. But there's going to be a lot of... there's some pretty good games next week, so watch out for those and have fun watching those. Dragon Ball Xenoverse is nearly over. When it finishes, we'll be moving on to our next LPs. The next LP is going to be a shorter one. It's going to be a short indie game, which should be pretty good, though. We've been getting really good at our LPs. And after that's going to be the Shadow of Mordor DLC, which is going to be amazing. I already know it's going to be. Lord of the Hunt should be a lot of fun, but being the Bright Lord should be really fun. My understanding is Bright Lord does really good work. Like, it's a DLC, but it's different enough from the main game, and it improves on things from the main game, is my understanding, that makes it even better. So I'm looking very forward to that, to horribly murdering orcs or uruks soon enough, once Dragon Ball Xenoverse is finished. Let's see what else here as far as the channel goes. One-shots is always pretty fun to do them. They're very fun. There's no other way to put it. Like, the one-shots coming out are going to be pretty entertaining. HOTS? I'm getting to that point where I understand HOTS well enough that I'm starting to get annoyed with teammates, which isn't a good thing. Like, I'm not just enjoying the game anymore, I'm starting to see the cracks here and there. And this is the problem with team-based games are sometimes you cannot blame yourself. Sometimes it is not your fault you lost the game, even if you carried as hard as you could. Sometimes you are not the reason you lose. And it's really frustrating when that happens, when you do your best and it's not good enough. it's kind of why I prefer single-player games, in that you can do your best and you fail, you can blame yourself and recover and learn from that. But sometimes you can't learn something from a match, which is really frustrating in a team game. Like, you do everything right, you do everything perfect, you get your ganks in there, but wherever you're not, things are going wrong. And it's just frustrating. Like, I've had those games, if you've watched every video we've done, you'll have the game where I do, like, I'm Fenrir. I go like 26-1 and we lose the game. I kill the enemy gods repeatedly, but my teammates never go for towers, they never go for objectives, they just never do the things they need to do. They're too busy, like, farming camps or farming minions, but they never go for the damn towers, they never go for Gold Fury, they never go for Fire Giant. When your ADC and support do not do objectives, you can't win the game. You just can't. Doesn't matter if you wipe the enemy team repeatedly, if your team doesn't take advantage of the situation, you can't win it, and that's what happened in that Fenrir game. And that's what happened in a couple of Arachne games as well, is I can do 25 kills in a game and still lose because I'm not the one that's supposed to be doing the objectives. I can still do the objectives, but my primary job is to make sure the enemy team doesn't exist so my teammates can do the objectives. Because the ADC and the support are the kings of objectives. They are the ones who can do it better than anyone else. So it's really frustrating when I make the way for them and they don't do it. And that's one of the things that just frustrates me so much, is when things are not done correctly, which happens a lot, unfortunately. Now this week we only streamed once, and that was for Smite. Like, it was a stupidly busy week. I couldn't do anything. But we played Smite for one day, and it was a really, really good day. And the reason for that? Nobody DC'd or raged the entire day. I played for 5-6 hours because it was going to be the only day I could stream this week, and nobody raged or DC'd. Not a single one. Which really helped out make the games really fun. Because the last 2 weeks was a bunch of DCs and rages, which doesn't make the game very fun. Which is another problem with team-based games, is when you have teammates who just aren't really into it, and they just DC or rage out, and well, okay, raging out means they're not into it. DCing means either the servers are screwing them over, or something else. They could just be leaving. I know the servers have not been so great because Ultimate DC'd and couldn't get back into the point that the game told them to reinstall that freaking game. And I heard a couple other people have that same problem. Something like that, on the technical scale, is not so good. Then the rage quits also happened, which is also not so good. Like, I had to stop playing the game in disgust for a couple days after just 2 weeks of that. Like, it's no fun. It's not fun when you can't have a real game. Like, people just keep rage quitting, or the people DC at the start and they never come back. Like, that's no fun. Like, obviously it's not fun. Also, why the hell is it always on my team? So now let's talk about tonight's topic. And this is an interesting one to talk about. You're going to learn some interesting things about Scarf. And if you don't want to learn anything, well then mute me and keep watching the Nuon game. Don't mute me! Don't mute me! I'm cool. I'm hip. I'm Jive. Is Jive good or bad? Wait. I'm cool. My mom says I'm cool. Freaking Millhouse. Okay, so, this is an interesting topic. Introverts and extroverts, and apparently ambiverts. First up, we'll talk about Jinx instead. Jinx is a heavy introvert. When Jinx is modding, and when Jinx is doing stuff with people in the chat, it is very exhausting for her, because she's very much an introvert. The way it works is, extroverts get their energy from interacting with others, and I guess their energy wears down when they're alone. Introverts get a lot of energy from within themselves, and they expend it when being around other people. That's just how it is. And Jinx is very much an introvert, and so am I. I don't know if that's by choice or not. Probably is just who I am. Why did I say by choice? I don't know. Knowing myself, as a child, I was very much all over the place, all over people. And at some point, I quieted down, and I don't know when the hell that happened. I think maybe in elementary. At some point, I quieted down, and I was very much introverted. I kept to myself. I did things my way. Just did a lot of just sticking with me. Just stuck with myself. And I made very small groups of friends. Elementary like that. High school, actually, I don't know. So elementary, I had a small group of friends. But I did keep to myself a lot. And high school was kind of the same thing. I had a small group of friends, but kept to myself a lot as well. Just did not interact with many people. But a thing I did do back then was I was in a lot of fights. And I was in a lot of fights with bullies. I hated bullies, so I always fought them. I was the one who fought the bullies. Because I just didn't like them, so I did that. And so I got in a lot of scraps. because of that. But for the most part, I was mostly lonerish, except when I was with my friends, whenever those times were. But I wasn't always able to be with them because I was also poor. So when you're poor, you can't really do too many things with friends who are not. So they were able to do a lot, and I just couldn't. So also just socially not really doing too much. So maybe that's also introversion in that way as well. But whenever I'm at... The thing is, my family's very much outgoing, very out there. They know a lot of people. They talk to a lot of people. So there's always family parties, and I'm always having to be there. And I don't interact with anybody. Like, it's mostly just me and my own. I'll interact with my basically my family, and that's about it. I don't really interact with many people too much. Because one of the things about me is, if I don't feel like I have anything worth bringing to the table, I won't talk. So if I'm at just this random social thing, and all these people are interested in all these things, and I don't have any interest in what they're interested in, I got nothing to talk about. So I'm on my own a lot. I've come to the realization that my family circles aren't really gamer people, and I'm very much a gamer, so I don't have much to talk about. Because I'm very much a gamer, and also I like comics, I like reading these different things, I like certain shows, and because of that, not really a lot of interaction. And my understanding is introverts are like that, where introverts, they're not shy. It's just that the interactions with other people is different. Shy people don't like being in public at all. Introverts can be in public, but they interact with public differently. Like, if you have a subject that they know, an introvert will talk your head off. If you don't have a subject an introvert knows, the introvert doesn't have much to talk about. It doesn't mean they're shy, they just don't have much to talk about, and they just won't talk. And that's what my understanding of myself and others who I've observed in that way as well. But we have this channel. Well, there's a thing. Introverts are usually, this is typically, not always, typically the artists, they're typically scientists, they're typically architects, they're typically those things. They're typically people who create. Extroverts are typically more of social stuff. Extroverts are usually sporty people, they're usually party people, like all that stuff. Or politics is very much an extrovert thing. So content creation is very much something that you would typically consider an introvert thing. So what happens is, there's a lot of introverts who extrovert themselves, extroverted introvert. And maybe that's what I am. Or I am ambivert, apparently. Ambivert is in the middle ground. Because the thing is, I like social interaction. I'm really a big fan of that. I really think it's important for people to talk to each other. And the channel is very much a creation thing. It's something for the artist within me and Jinx. Me and Jinx, I mentioned this before, we're thinking about doing a webcomic together. I'd be the writer, primarily. Okay, all I could do was write, and then Jinx would be the artist, and she would also do some writing as well, because Jinx is a funny person. That was the plan. And at a point, I was listening to, it wasn't called Co-op Channel at that time, it was the TGS podcast with Jesse Cox and Total Biscuit and them. I think it was like episode 3. I was listening to it, and I said, you know what? I think we could do this. I want to do this. Let's try doing this. And Jinx had me audition. She made me audition for it. And I was talking about a Raw game. I was casting a Raw game based off of my memory of Smite. I wasn't playing at the time. I was talking to Jinx randomly somewhere. I was not actually playing a game or anything. I was just saying lines. And it was enough to convince her to try it out. And so we started the channel. This is a couple of years back at this point. Like, we're almost at year 3 here. I think we're at 2.5 years right now, because we started in October. And so, as a person who usually keeps to himself, we're putting and Jinx, who does definitely keep to herself, we are putting ourselves out there into the internet. The most extroverted possible place possible is the internet. And so we're going out there. And so I have to extrovert myself as an introvert, which is going to be an interesting experience. And it has been. But I've noticed I get a lot of energy from being with myself, and I get a lot of energy from doing the streams and just talking with our viewers. So it comes to then an ambivert. An ambivert is someone who can do both. They do varying degrees of both. And perhaps that's what I am. Which wouldn't be surprised, because I am a random ass person. I get energy from doing things on my own. I come up with some godly amazing ideas sometimes when I'm on my own. And some god-awful ideas when I'm on my own. And sometimes when I'm with other people, I can do amazing things. I can come up with amazing things. I can do amazing things. And sometimes I don't really get much done when I'm with people, and sometimes I don't really get much done when I'm alone. So apparently I'm just random as an ambivert, I suppose. Because I've noticed I think it. This is the way I put it with I put it with Jinx. Is when I don't, and this is very much an introvert thing. So there you go. When I don't know a thing, I don't really talk much, and I'm very much in the corner or wherever the hell away from other people. Also, I'm not really good with opens. When people are talking in a group, I will just stand to the side and listen. And even if there's someone I want to talk to in that group, I'll just stand aside and listen. Because I find it rude to interrupt and say hi to someone I know or something like that. To get in the middle of it while they're having a conversation. I find that rude personally. So I don't do that. Like, family will push me towards, you should say hi to this person, say hi to that person. Like, okay, they're in a conversation. I don't want to be rude and interrupt. Is a thing that I do. And so sometimes I'm just not talking to them, just standing in the place. Where was I going? Where was I going? Shoot, crap, where was I? Uh-oh. Oh, crap, what was I talking about? Social interactions? Oh, balls, I forgot what I was talking about. This is kind of a thing I do, isn't it? Okay, let's pick back up. Alright, I was talking about, okay, so, when I don't know what I'm talking about in a thing, I don't really talk much. Now, if I'm at a thing where I know what the hell I'm talking about, then I will, wave it around a bit, and I will interact. When I was on this government thing, I can't talk all of it about. The first day, very quiet. No one knew I was there. No one knew I was there. I got there at the last minute. I wasn't even supposed to be there. Everyone had an idea who everyone else was. They had no idea who I was. And I did not know much about the subject matter of what we were going to go into. Like, this is the group of politicians, engineers, scientists, a group of very smart people. And then I'm there for some weird reason. It's top men, and women were there. And so the first day, I'm not really interacting with anybody. As the day goes on, we're learning a lot of subjects. The second day, I learn a bit more. And I start talking to some people who I notice are understanding things the same way as I do. On the final day, I am talking to everybody in the group. This is like 30, 40 people, and I'm talking to all of them one-on-one or in groups, interacting with all of them, because I actually have things to talk about. I actually know what the hell I'm talking about. I know what the hell they're talking about. I'm able to wave it around a little bit. And so, that's me there. So with Smite is something that I play a lot. I make sure I understand a lot, which is why I explain my thought process, and I try to teach it with guides. Which is why I talk about it so much and I think so well. Which is why I think I do it quite well, is I just know the subject matter. I know Smite pretty well, so I explain it as best I can. When it comes to the HOTS games, we play it as me learning it, because that's how it should be. If I tried to talk matter of fact about that, that would not be good. Then, of course, also, we've been at this for two plus years, so I have good practice in what we're doing. I'm able to talk kind of well about whatever. We have me do blind shots, and it's me exploring, but being very much myself with that in a way. I think another thing is just becoming comfortable with what you're doing. Where the hell am I going with this entire conversation? I think this is just I'm trying to treat this as a case study on Scarf. I think that's what this is. And talking about introvert, extrovert, and then talking about myself and ambivert, and just talking about myself and talking about myself. Where am I going with this? You know what? Jinx, you are in your right to cancel this vlog if you want, because I'm not really going anywhere with this. But, this is a chance to look into the insanity that is Scarf, and the random thought process that is Scarf when Scarf wants to talk about something, but actually doesn't know how to talk about it, so he's not doing it very well. Go me! Jinx is an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert, or an ambivert. I'm not sure which. And I just wanted to talk about this, but I don't think I talked about it very well. So I'm actually curious what the comments are going to say about introvert and extrovert. But what's important is introverts are not shy people. Those are two different groups. Those are two very different groups. Shy people don't like being around anybody at all. Introverts might not like being around too many people, but they can still interact with groups depending on the subject matter. Maybe I just want to talk about introverts and some misunderstandings about them as well. I don't know, my family thinks you can just fix being an introvert. That's really stupid. That's really dumb. That's not something you just fix. No. Some people are just like that. Some people just like being on their own. And sometimes I like being on my own. And sometimes I like not being on my own. That's how that is. But I think introversion can also create quite a neuroses. Or I just have a neuroses. because no one is a harder judge of me than myself. And that is in part a lead to part of the depression that I have, because I judge myself very harshly, which does lead to very bad depression thoughts. But it's also judging myself harshly based on the criteria that I feel society has on me, and how I am not measuring up to what society wants of me. So that because I am not what society wants, I am not worth society. And there are different groups that cause this feeling. There are, you can say, now I'm going to be really too personal about this. There is just Asian society, and going by. We'll get Asian and probably Mexican society. Usually by this age that I am, which is 28, I should have a family and kids already. My parents, my mother was 22 when she had me, and they were married at that time. I'm not a bastard. You may think it, but I'm not. My mom was 22, my dad was like 24, 25. When they got married and they had me. Like, they were early 20-ish when they got married and had a family. My sister came like 2 years later. I'm 28, and I can tell some of my family looks at me a bit odd because I don't have a family. Like, my family's my family. My friends are my family, but I don't have a love life family, I guess is the right word. And because of that, by society judging me on that, I get depression based on that. I also got depression based on the fact that I lost my job, that I got laid off. I had the feeling that I don't have a job, which means I am nothing. I'm worthless to society. Why do I exist? That's another cause of depression that I have had from just observation of what society expects of me and what I am doing for society. And that's a toughie. Another one is, like, Jinx tells me I have way too many midlife crises, and maybe I do. I have midlife crisis of I don't have a family, though society thinks I should have one already. I have midlife crisis of I am not being a productive citizen. So there's that as well. Another is I have a very strong military background, family-wise. And a lot of their opinion is if you're not paying taxes, then you're not worth... we're Americans, by the way. If you're not paying taxes, then you're not worth America's time. You're not worth anyone's time. That's how some of my family feels. They don't say it to me, so I don't know if they feel that towards me. Maybe they understand that sometimes shit happens, but they say those things. And so I wonder if they feel that about me. And so that is also family pressure. That is the pressure of family society on me. And that also causes depression. It causes inferiority. It causes feelings of I am not good enough. And it's not good, obviously. But I have been working through it and towards goals to get out of it in my own way. As we all know, I am very much making progress towards a career in the public sector of things, and I can do my civic duty and all that stuff. And hopefully, in the future, that will lead to other paths to wherever. What's important to me is becoming better than myself, but also, I guess, also in the back of my mind, becoming better than what society wants of me. It'd be nice to not be depressed. But I think another thing in the back of my mind is if I can get through all this and become successful and pull off everything I dream to pull off, like get this career and have that all going, and then maybe someday retire from the career into content creation full time, like if I could do that and be successful in that, that would be a good story. That'd be a good story for the people who are trying to go for their dream as well. That no matter how hard it is, if you work at it and try hard enough, you can get there. And there are people who are like that already. They exist already. There's 1,001 examples of that already. But just being another example is not a bad thing. My goal is to be the best that I can be. And sometimes it's harder to do that than I would like. And sometimes, no, there's never easier. It's always hard. It's always hard to pull that off. Some days are harder than others. Some days are easier than others. And there's always something you can do to improve yourself. The question is, what do you do to do it? And with plates as they are, it's also figuring that out. I have my father and my sister who I have to help take care of, and other relatives as they come along. And so I have that plate happening, the career plate, I have the channel plate. I'm spinning a lot of plates and trying to keep them afloat. At the same time, I feel this thing eating at me in that I am not meeting society's demands in love, in life, in career, and all those things. And hopefully find those things eventually. I think I already said that earlier, though. I don't know. I'm giving you guys a view into what is me on this one. No reason at all why. I just am. The New Walk game's already over by now, so hope you had fun with that. Those of you stuck around this far, thank you for sticking around. Just want to be the best. And want to prove it. And just keep working at it. An introvert being a bit of an extrovert to do that. But here's a big weakness. I think this is where I was also going with. Is because I'm such an introvert, I have a hard time collaborating. I have a very hard time collaborating. It is very much not easy for me to interact with others if I don't know them very well. It's that whole not really having much to say. Like, I don't really know how to break the ice, I suppose, with certain people. And so I don't know. Mez and I just got together really well. And I need to hook up with him again because it's been a while. Smitten and I got along very well a year ago. Smitten is so far up there now that I just don't feel like I bring anything to the table with her, so I don't talk with her. Hell, I don't bring anything to the table with Mez, but Mez and I just get along well enough that it's fine for me to be in that spectrum. Like, I feel like we are this mid-tier position. And I have high-tier friends or acquaintances, but I don't really feel comfortable trying to collab with them necessarily, because I don't feel like I'm in a position where I should be with them. And so that's probably holding us back as well. And I have to get over that. But I'm also just scared of somehow screwing up those friendships or acquaintances. I am probably acquaintance level with Smitten. I think when I consider you a friend, you're a friend forever for me. Smitten's a friend to me, but to her, I'm probably just an acquaintance because we haven't really interacted in a long time. Mez is a friend forever, in my opinion. Other people, of course, like Kylax is a friend forever, Falcon, Verbal, friend forever. That's how I feel unless you hurt me, you're my friend forever, in my opinion. And that's how I feel about a lot of people. Even people I haven't seen for years, they're still a friend in my book. But it comes back to the whole feeling like you're good enough thing, I guess. And I don't feel like I'm good enough to full-on collaborate with people on the level that Smitten and Mez are. I think we're done enough exploring of Scarf. I don't even know if we're going to keep this thing. Like, not the jinx. This was very rambly. But I think it's got some... I think it has some... I think it's a valid vlog. I think it has some points worth looking at and having opinions on about me. It's all about me, isn't it? Not always about you, Scarf, but it is when it's your own freaking vlog. So there, have at it. See what you think. That is the vlog. I will be back Monday. We should be streaming Monday, and we'll be coming in hard and hot. And the tea should be pretty good. I should be re-energized from my time away from everyone and everything. Did not choose to be gone for the weekend, but I will be, and I should spend that time to get better. By the way, my state exam is on the 16th, so that's pretty close, so I gotta study for that as well. So we'll see how that affects things. My intention is to be the best there ever is at that as well. So I'm gonna study very hard, but I'm still gonna be doing all I can for the channel at the same time. And that's just how it is. That's how I am. I will always try to put my full weight into two things at once. Studying for a career, but also doing the channel at the same time, because that is the person I am. I will lose sleep over doing that, because that's what I want to do. So that's the vlog, everybody. Thank you for listening to the vlog. Thank you for coming all the way to the end of it. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend, or you had a great weekend since this comes out at the end of the week. And I hope you have a great week. There you go, there. Done. Okay, so that's the vlog. I had fun watching. That's what's up, Azin. Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.
An ally has been slain. Your middle Phoenix is under attack. Deicide. Your middle phoenix is under attack. Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. Your minotaur is under attack. An enemy has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.